Hey everyone, this is Abhijit, and most of you have joined my regular session for the first time. I see, though, a couple of people have joined this particular training for second or third time at PyNet Labs. So I welcome everyone to this exciting pilot batch that we are going to conduct for the CCIE DevNet preparations. And by the end, we all have one goal that everyone gets CCIE DevNet certified. So let's get started quickly. This is our day one. I'll quickly introduce about myself. Then we'll have a short introductory session about everyone in this particular training, and we'll jump into the content. I'll quickly share my screen. Give me a minute. So, like I said, my the training that we're going to conduct over here is about DevCore plus CCIE DevNet Lab. Right, so it's a combination course where we're gonna spend a good amount of time in getting to know about the CCNP DevNet core examination, and then after that we'll be moving on into the CCIE DevNet lab examination. So the content is quite going to be lengthy, and we'll be kind of discussing every element that is involved into both of these particular course. Talking about myself, my name is Abhijit. Most of you must be familiar with me. You can call me AB for the ease. And I've been delivering corporate trainings for around more than 10 years now. Speaking about my experience, I've been, as like I said, I've been delivering the trainings for around 10 years, along with some corporate consultancy work. My key expertise has been in the field of routing and switching, which is now enterprise domains. Then I've been also involved in delivering trainings from bits and pieces from service provider networks, security networks, data center networks, and all. But since Cisco came up with the new SDN solutions and tools and technologies, I instantly picked those. I instantly picked those particular content and started delivering trainings. So, like I said, I've been delivering corporate trainings for around 10 years now. And since Cisco came out with the DevNet certification or their SDN tools, that includes ACI, that includes SD-WAN, that includes SD access, I instantly picked them up and been busy delivering trainings onto these technologies focused on automation and focused on SDNs since around more than 5 years now. So that's about myself, and my, you can say, clientele ranges from national and international, domestic, as well as uh, you can say public and private corporates. That includes government organizations, that includes corporate organizations like Cisco itself, then big ITs, including Infosys, including NTT, including you can say various other organizations. So Saudi Aramco and whatnot. So it's a long list that goes on. And speaking about my personal life, I belong from a state of Maharashtra in India, and been living in Delhi for around 10 years now. And that's exactly where we are based off. I'm working officially as a co-founder and CTO at PyNet Labs Private Limited. About my experience with DevNet, I am CCNA and CCNP DevNet certified. I have also attempted my DevNet Expert lab. Once I have failed. I went in blind in order to just check how the content goes like and how the exam experience is. So I am attempting another, you can say, my attempt, or I'm preparing for another attempt, and will be making that attempt in the last week of March mostly. So another 2 and 3 months, sorry, another 2 and 3 weeks, and I'm hoping to be certified in DevNet. So, and then we will be sharing the entire knowledge and my experience about about the exam with you all, and we'll be there for getting everyone certified whosoever have enrolled in this particular training. So looking forward for that. All the best to everyone. And that's about myself and the company. So we will start with the introductory sessions about you guys. So I will take everyone's name And you guys can introduce about yourself with your name, then the organization that you belong to, the role that you possess in the organization, then the domain of yours, or rather, you can just help me with the location that you're from or that you're currently in, and the motive. Although the motive is pretty much common for everyone, but still it'll be great to know about your motive. This will help me to identify your interest in a better way possible, and it can also, or it will also increase the interactability of the session. So I would start with Arun Kumar. Arun, please introduce about yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, good morning, all. Uh, Myself, Arun Kumar. I belong to an organization based in UAE called Etisalat Communications.
Mhm,
I'm part of a team called Managed Services, where we provide managed services to enterprise customers. Um,
mhm,
we are more focused on SD-WAN solution now, currently, based on Cisco Viptela.
mhm,
Uh, Motive is to know better about the network programmability and
mhm,
automation.
mhm.
Yeah,
Perfect. Great.
yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Then we have Daniel with us. Daniel, please introduce about yourself.
Hi everyone, good morning. I'm My name is Daniel. I'm based in Portugal. My current role has changed a little bit for in the last couple of years. So I mainly worked based on focus on networking, and for the last 8 years I worked on one of the major retailers in Portugal, leading all the networking architecture topics regarding SDNs, SD1s, implementation of
Mhm,
ACI. So a lot of the
mhm,
things happened on the enterprise side. I started looking at DevNet certifications right since the beginning. I'm a DevNet Associate and DevNet Professional certificate already.
mhm,
But it happened a couple of years ago, so we're really on the beginning of the certifications. I'm current that knowledge moved me away from specific networking content. So today I lead a team of platform engineers, DevOps, and SREs. So focus
Wonderful.
on AWS technologies. So I'm pretty much dealing with all of this. The knowledge that DevNet gave me allowed me to move to a more cloud-based role. Um, but I love the experience going to CCNA and CCNP DevNet. So I'm
Mhm,
really looking
mhm.
forward to try to reach the top. So my motivation is not as much as professional; it's a little bit more on the personal side. But obviously, it is to achieve the certification.
Of course, yeah. Great. Thank you. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for sharing all your experience. It's wonderful to see you here. And yeah, next we have, I think, Deepak with us. Deepak, please introduce about yourself.
Hi everyone. I I am from Delhi. I work at as Control Solutions Private Limited as a network specialist, where I work on traditional as well as SDN platforms such as ACI and SD-WAN.
Mhm,
And currently, I'm just exploring the DevNet field. I mean, I have been through the training of DevNet Associate, so
mhm.
I would like to, do more on the network automation part as well.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. Then we have Femjit with us. Femjit, please introduce about yourself.
Yeah, hi. Myself Amjit. I'm located in UAE, working as a satellite communication in UAE-based company. And my role is network and security in legacy or traditional infrastructure. Uh,
Perfect. Great.
my motive is to
And
know more about automation or yeah, to
great.
improve
And
my
have you completed your DevNet Associate certificate, Femjit?
no not certificate. I just complete with your PyNet.
Oh yeah, got it. Perfect. All right. Great. Then thank you. Next we have Khalid with us. Khalid, please introduce about yourself.
Hi everyone, this is Khalid Said. I'm located in UAE and working as a network engineer in Do ISP company.
Hmm.
Actually, last year I have completed with you CCNA DevNet,
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
and I am looking to go in deep. So I have to go in deep in automation, especially now everyone is going for this to automate everything. So no more traditional work, as I can see.
That's correct.
So hopefully, after this one, we will be able to attend the lab and update my career going forward.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
And were you there in my SD-WAN training also? I have a bit of a memory if you were there.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Noted.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for enrolling for the third time in our trainings. All right. Just looking forward for it. Then we have Majid with us. Majid, please introduce about yourself.
Hi everyone, this is Majid Ahmed, and currently I'm working with an organization in Dubai called Alpha Data, and currently my job role is implementation and migration. Basically, we are upgrading the access network for the DO ISP in Dubai.
Okay.
I did my first CCI in 2017 and just wanted to complete my second CCI this time.
Wonderful. All the best.
Yeah.
And then next we have Muhammad with us. Muhammad, please introduce about yourself.
Hi, hi everyone. My name is Mohammed, and I'm based in UK, and I work AWS solutions architect here, and I do have quite a bit of routing and switching knowledge. So at the moment, I'm taking the DevNet CCNA DevNet with PyNet, and I wanted to expand and take it during this course. And my aim is to try and complete the CCIE, hopefully.
Wonderful. Perfect. Thank you. Then we have Paul with us. Paul, please introduce about yourself.
Hey, Abhijit. My name is Paul. Like currently, I'm working as a network security architect in Hitachi Energy. So basically, I just handle the cybersecurity kind of related operations. Previously, I was with the network security role, where I used to handle these firewalls, routers, switches kind of things. So like I was more motivated towards the automating like these kind of things. Like so, I came to know about this DevNet like 2 years back. Like Cisco announced this, and started following from there. And finally, I met you, Abhijit, and finally I'm here.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see like how it goes. And yeah.
Wonderful. Perfect. Thank you. Next, we have Pramod with us. Pramod, please introduce about yourself.
Hi Abhijit, this is Pramod Sonawane. I'm working in Visa as a senior network engineer. I'm working in a test lab where anything that goes into the production, it gets tested in the lab. So we always been working on a traditional networking and routing and switching, but now we are since it's a testing lab, so we are moving towards the automation. So my whole goal is to help the team and bring the new automation skill set into the team that will help us to automate the testing scripts. That's the goal, and I'm based out of Washington DC, USA. Thank you.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, Pramod. Then we have Shiv with us. Shiv, please introduce about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone, and Abhijit. My name is Shiv, and I'm associated with Wipro Technologies and working as a network design assurance lead for SDN Technologies. As of now, I'm working on SD-WAN part, and I'm exploring more opportunities in network automation so that I can do some automation with SDN infrastructure and for my company as well. And so that I have just done my CCNA DevNet from you only. I mean from PyNet.
Yeah,
And
I
now
recognize you.
enrolled.
Yes.
Yeah. And now enrolled for CCIE, so I can get
Great.
CCI number and more opportunities in the automation area. In fact, I have done
Wonderful.
my CCIE routing and switching in 2012.
That's great.
Now,
So
so
you're
I'm looking for
CCI
next
Emirates
number.
now.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, Shiv, for
Hey, Abhi,
enrolling.
can you hear me
Next.
now?
Hey, hi, Piyush. Yes. Please introduce about yourself. I'll just come back to you
Yeah,
again.
sorry for the glitch. So, eh, yeah. So, my name is Pius Mani. Currently, I'm working with WWT as a network consultant. I have around 12 years of experience, mainly into enterprise network designing, solutioning, and implementation. I'm based out in Delhi, in India, and my my purpose of this course is to fulfill my aspiration. So network automation has been my aspiration for last 1.5 years. And along with SIV, I got enrolled for CCNA DevNet and with PyNet only. And yeah, I am also a CCI. Me and SIV did CCI together. And I also want to renew my CCI certification. So that's it.
That's great. Congratulations and welcome on board. And lastly, we have Vinu with us. Vinu, please introduce about yourself.
Hi everyone, hi Abhijit. My name is Vinu. I'm from UAE working.
Your voice is flickering a bit, Vinu, or it's
Yeah,
breaking.
is it audible now?
Yeah, perfect.
I'm working in UAE with Etisalat as a SD-WAN engineer. My job is to migrate the traditional network to SD-WAN. And to get a new DevNet tool. I completed my CCA everything.
It broke off again, I think.
Hopefully we will get new series.
Your voice is not audible, Vinu.
I think I have some problem with that.
All right, no problem. You can share it in the chat also. Great. Thank you so much. I think we're pretty good with the overall, you can say, interactability that we require to have before we get started with the content. And I see various people joining from different geographies or demographics around the world. We have people from US, we have people from Portugal, we have people from UK, most majority of the people from Dubai and India. So it's great to have you all. I know the time zones must be different for everyone, especially for people in USA. It's quite late for you guys to attend this particular training, but I appreciate it most. It must be 2 or you can say 1 o'clock in the night for you, and you still are up for this particular call. So that's great to see such kind of enthusiasm in order to learn something new and something which is cutting edge in its own time right now. We definitely are at an advantage since we are some of the first people who are kind of preparing and dedicating their time to prepare for CCIE DevNet. The track itself is generating hell lot of demand in the world, and there are every organization is now looking forward. Every major organization, rather, I would say, is looking forward to implement automation at the best possible way. And people or organizations need expertise in order to plan and implement automation into their infrastructure. So we people, as we are some of the earliest people in order to prepare for DevNet Expert, and the track is going to have its own history. It's just been a couple of years or an year since the expert track has been announced, and there are so many people who are making attempts about it. However, only some of them have been able to crack it. Even I made my attempt, but was not able to get it through. However, I'm pretty confident that I'll be getting my number anytime soon by the end of this particular month. So all the best, everyone, again. And let's dive deeper into the content that we're going to cover in this combination course. See, I'll tell you a backstory where DevNet comes from, okay? In 2014 and 2015, there were not sure why this cloud message is coming. I deleted the content. Ignore that for today. So in 2014 and 2015, there were a couple of solutions that Cisco came out with or which were getting popular. Number one, we had Prime Infrastructure, right? Second one, we had Intelligent WAN. Then third one, we had Epic EM. And fourth one, we kind of had Epic DC. Right? So these were some of the solutions which were there. The Epic EM was called as Epic Enterprise Module, and Epic DC was called as Enterprise, Epic Data Center. Epic as you might guess, application policy infrastructure controller, which will control your enterprise domain, and application policy infrastructure controller, which will control your data center domain. This was the very much beginning of the SDN era. Now, Cisco replaced these solutions, and Cisco came up with Epic EM being your SD access, right? And even they blended it with Prime infrastructure. Then your intelligent WAN become SD-WAN, and your Epic DC, you might have guessed, become ACI. And right now, Cisco offers these three solutions under its SDN umbrella. This is SDN. If we speak about DevNet, then there were two courses. You might not be familiar, possibly because these courses were not that famous, but I used to deliver training of these courses back in 2016, I guess. So we had number one called NPDESI, implementing design in enterprise domain for network programmability. And second one was NPDEV, okay, implementing development or developing network programmability for enterprise domain. These two courses were there, and these courses focused majorly on a topic called on-box programmability. On-box programmability means there were operating systems which were coming up. So ACI introduced Nexus switches that could be managed from a centralized point of touch, right? Similarly, we had Nexus 7K switches and other devices. We had iOS XE devices coming in, iOS XR devices coming in. So these advanced operating systems were built on top of the Linux kernels, right? That's why they had Linux, or you can say they had exposure to Linux operating system. And they could also run, for example, Python scripts right onto the box. So instead of you performing CLI configurations, every configuration could also be performed by using scripts, bash scripts, by using Python scripts, and so on, right inside the box. That's why we used to call that concept as on-box programmability. Then with the blend of SDN, there comes something called off-box programmability. Now, you must be familiar, most of you, as you guys have been through my DevNet associate training, we often talk about SDN, right? And I often try to differentiate the traditional network and the SDN based network. In traditional network, if we have multiple devices, for example, we have router 1, and then we have router 2, and then we have router 3, and then we have router 4. Let's say all of them are connected together with router 5 also being in there. What would happen? Every device will have its management plane, will have its control plane, and will have its data plane, right? And because management plane, control plane, and data plane is there, what would you need? You would need kind of a PC that actually connects with every single device, interacts with the management plane, and pushes configuration to the device. Then the management plane will give the config to control plane and control plane to data plane. That's exactly when the network transmission occurs or functions, right? So we changed that particular approach. What happened now? By using the same admin box, you can go onto R1, and instead of configuring CLIs or GUIs, you could programmatically configure that device using scripts and so. But still, we don't really get rid of the limitation, because the limitation is every device has, you're doing device by device configuration, and every device got to decide what to do. That's called on-box programmability, where you will interact with devices programmability and push, can say, configuration onto that particular device using Python or something like that. And then it comes with the name of off-box programmability, where what happens, that's exactly where SDN strikes off. So you have an admin PC. The admin PC will have utilities like Python, right? Utilities like Postman, utilities like REST API capabilities, and all that stuff installed. And with the help of these particular abilities, you would be able to push configuration on multiple devices in one go. Now it is not complete SDN. You see, SDN also has parts. You have full SDN, you have partial SDN, and you have hybrid SDN. The full SDN means that the management plane and the control plane of your infrastructure is given away to the controllers. Then you have partial SDN, where management plane only is given away to the controller. And you have hybrid SDN, where where either your management plane and control plane is managed by the controllers, or management plane and control plane is managed by your infrastructure, right? For example, SD-WAN is one of our solution which comes under the umbrella of SDN, right? SD-WAN provides you controllers like vManager, which takes your management plane access. Then we have vBond, which takes your orchestration plane access. And we have vSmart, which takes your control plane access. But your WAN edge devices, assuming that your infrastructure devices are WAN edge devices, they could either function in CLI mode or they could either function in GUI. In CLI mode, the management plane, control plane, and data plane is retained locally. So you don't give the ability or you don't give the control to the controllers. And either your WAN edge can also operate in GUI mode, where the management plane will be given to vManager, vBond, and vSmart will have the control plane. In that case, you will not be able to access the CLI and do some configuration change onto the device. No, you will only have to push the configuration via vManager to the infrastructure. So using these utilities, you can go and talk to vManager that you run a Python script that kind of triggers some config or template creation or something like that, or you run REST API to interact with the vManager resources and do some changes or trigger some changes into the infrastructure, right? So it's via configuration. That's called off-box programmability, where the Python scripts and where programmatic logic is built offside, not onto the box, not onto your infrastructure, somewhere else, either at the controller side or at the management side. And then by executing those programmatic logic, your infrastructure will be configured. This exposed, you can say, automation enablement into your infrastructure, by using which you could achieve like centralized point of touch, single source of truth, centralized management, right? All these abilities that we are kind of leveraging out of our infrastructure to achieve reactive or proactive behavior, not reactive, proactive behavior or proactive troubleshooting from our infrastructure. You see, right now, networks are kind of becoming that complex that specifically after the pandemic, that the data is being generated in the world at the most or at the rapidest speed that we have ever seen. And that's why every organization wants to utilize their IT infrastructure to the best of their capabilities. So earlier, our you can say way of troubleshooting our networks used to be reactive. And identify and understand these keywords very sensibly. When we say reactive troubleshooting, what does it mean is, let's say my site went off and I detected that there is a problem in my network, right? And then I will identify what can be the cause. I'll do L1, L2, L3 troubleshooting, and I'll try to fix that problem as soon as possible, right? So something went off. I did the troubleshooting steps and I fixed that problem and my network is back in action. And then I might do rekey to identify what went wrong and how can we resolve that and all that stuff. That's reactive behavior. Okay. But with the help of the data, with the help of automation, and with the help of automated monitoring and troubleshooting and reporting, we are moving towards something called proactive troubleshooting. And what does it mean when we say proactive? So there are data, or there is data which is actively sent out to monitoring systems, analytics systems, and by yep. So when I say proactive, it means that your network monitoring systems, your dashboards will actively monitor how your network is performing. Based on that, if they start to see something harmful which is coming in the way by looking at the trends of traffic that's kind of traveling from here and there, they might suggest something to the administrator, or based on that data you can kind of push or design pipelines that if my, let's say I have two WAN circuits, WAN 1, WAN 2. My WAN 1 is my primary circuit, my WAN 2 is only for latency sensitive data, but it has the capability to also send delivery sensitive data, right? So my WAN 1, which is actively being used for most of my delivery sensitive data, my, you can say, monitoring system, my dashboard analyzes that the trend is kind of spiking to 85% of its total capability. So that is something which is reported to me that, hey, admin, there is something which is causing oversubscription to the bandwidth of your WAN 1. And then I possibly build up a logic in my infrastructure that if my WAN 1 crosses 80% or 85%, then send this amount of traffic to WAN 2 also. So start using ECMP or start using load balancing or start or diverting traffic to the other available transports, which is basically a behavior that is called as proactive troubleshooting. So we are taking some actions before something goes down, right? And that is something which can completely be automated by building up workflows. Okay. There can be technologies from DevOps. There can be technologies from programmability. There can be technologies from data modeling and everything that can be brought together and build up a workflow which helps you achieve proactive troubleshooting, which would minimize or even completely get rid of the downtime in your infrastructure. So it's quite big thing which we're trying to assume in the infrastructure, and that's why the need of network engineers is quite a lot in the industry. Make sense? Am I making sense what I'm speaking about? Inputs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
So that's what we are trying to achieve, and the content that we're focusing on with the help of software development and design, with the help of using APIs, Cisco platforms, application development and deployment and security, infrastructure automation, and all of these things are focusing towards achieving something proactive, uh, or you can say enabling device with the proactive capabilities. So exploring the content of DevCore or exploring the content of CCIE DevNet is all about getting familiar with various tools and technologies that have been brought together to achieve this. So software design and development kind of enables you to understand how the distributed applications related to the concepts of front end and back end and load balancing works. You would be able to evaluate an application design considering scalability and modularity, or considering high availability and resiliency, right? You can say getting to know whether an application or whether the infrastructure should be hosted on-prem, should be hosted on cloud, or should be hosted in a hybrid environment, given the availability of lots of virtual operating systems now that we have, right? We do not really need a router to implement routing solutions or to implement routing capabilities into your network. You can just get a virtual operating system, use that operating system of a router as a virtual machine, and install it into one of the server with the hypervisor enabled on it, and you would gain the routing capabilities, right? So there are VNFs, which are virtual network functions, which are allowing you to use networking capabilities without the need of the physical box being deployed at the location. That enables you to deploy your solutions or deploy your capabilities on-prem, on cloud, or hybrid. So you need to learn how to evaluate what to deploy in our infrastructure. You can also learn how to store your developments onto, you can say, version control systems like Git and GitHub, so that everything that is changed into your project is tracked completely by Git. And you can also rebase to your previous development. You can also commit new developments, and you can send notifications to every team member. You can only deploy production changes upon approvals of your admins and necessary managers, right? So how to work with Git and how to work with GitHub, all of those particular things are going to be learned into software design and development stuff. When we speak about using APIs, in APIs, we learn about the advanced stuff of REST APIs. However, we'll be speaking about the fundamentals of REST API. Then we'll see how we can do error handling with REST API, how we can optimize our HTTP communication that we do over the REST API, how we can implement control flow of consumer code for unrecoverable REST API errors, how we can construct applications that consumes REST API with the support of pagination for long, strong replies that we get from our infrastructure, right? For example, we get details about 120 interfaces, but those cannot be displayed in one output. So we need to implement pagination with the help of REST API and all that. So we learn how to do that. Then how to securely communicate with your infrastructure over REST API, implementing authentication, you can say tools like OAuth 2 and three-legged authorization, then token-based authorization and all that. So we're gonna see how we do that. I think most of you guys have done it into the associate level where you guys must have used basic authentication for executing your REST API communication with things like ASA or so in Postman or in Python code, right? So we're going to take that journey further by bringing in token-based authentication, OAuth 2, and all that stuff. So that's what the advanced REST API is, something which we're going to explore in using APIs. Then we have Cisco platforms where we will try and interact with most of the Cisco's web-enabled portals. Includes vManager of SD-WAN, that includes Epic of ACI, Application Policy Infrastructure Controller, which is a controller that manages all the Nexus 9K switches in the data center environment. Then we will also interact with collaboration services like WebEx using REST API, right? Meraki using REST API, and so on. So we'll be working with Cisco platforms and how we can interact with the platforms using APIs. Then we talk about the application deployment and security. So that's where we try to build our infrastructure using something like CI/CD pipelining for automating the entire workflow, or using you can say continuous development and continuous integration and continuous deployment into your infrastructure with the help of and blending it with Dockers and Kubernetes and all that stuff. How the security can be taken care of your application by you can say figuring out, or by taking in consideration 12-factor apps. Okay, how we can basically secure our network by looking at the OWASP threats, right? Open Web Organization Security Project, which basically flags top 10 security threats of the year, along with the mitigations and the take cares that you need to deal with in order to keep your infrastructure secure and all. So we're gonna spend our time in that. And then in the infrastructure automation section, we will speak about using the automation protocols like netconf, like restconf, like Ansible for pushing configurations and pulling configuration onto the. So we'll be doing model-driven programmability and model-driven telemetry using iOS XE boxes, right, in an advanced level. So these are the things that we're going to look into the DevCore content. And then speak about the next thing, which is the expert content. Now, expert content is also divided into 5 sections, you can say. Number 1, and the sections sound similar. So one is software design, development, and deployment. Then we have infrastructure as a code, so kind of a cloud service, IAC. Third one, we have network programmability and automation. Fourth one is about containers, so Docker. And fifth one is about security. That's exactly what the expert exam blueprint is wrapped about. The software design, design, development, and deployment um, involves, you can say, so in the design section, we kind of speak about how the yeah, in the design section, we basically speak about how the entire workflow can be designed in a way. For example, building up CI/CD pipelines using GitLab, and based on that, when there is any change